Quite a challenge for it. Because we've got to go past some pink flowers. Thank you. I mean purple flowers. Look at all those purple flowers, Ronan. He says, I know, I am. I'm looking at those purple flowers. And there's a purple gate. You can see why, you know, they have to be ready to come up here, because you really can't have their bottoms coming into the traffic. Because you never know, you might get a silly driver. Good boy. No. I mean, Ronan's ready to do something like this now, but only just. And whoa. Oh, that will go then. Oh, they do. Can't wait there forever, can we, Ronan? It's soon time to meet the pigs. Goodness knows what he'll think of them. Cute. Me old stalwart says, but I'm tired now. Come on, me old stalwart. Yeah, so on these busier roads, you do need to make sure that the horse is ready and isn't going to suddenly jump out into the road because it's seen something it doesn't like, and that's why we prepare them in the village. And in fact, if you didn't have a village to work these horses in, I'm not quite sure how you'd ever have a horse that's safe on the roads, because you can't expect cars to totally understand that your horse might leap sideways. So we'll come up here because there's some good things to see. There, good boy. Good boy. And again, they have to be ready for this. Because you don't want them dashing onto the road because it's really slippery. Oh, alright then, we'll come round here, come on. We haven't finished. Good boy. I call this the municipal schooling zone, because there's all sorts of municipal type, what can you call them? There. Now, the first time I did this, or for the first few times, Ronan was not happy to stand. Municipal edifices, that's the word I was looking for. And whoa. So this is the kind of thing horses must be aware that sort of those sounds are not threatening, and obviously go past park benches, or up here if I wanted him to go. You'll mind your foot here, so you're going to put it on a sign. Now this is where it's handy to get them to go over. And then, there, good boy. So I just moved his beforehand a little to the right to avoid that sign. And of course they can meet the flower plant. Without eating them. One minute he doesn't like flowers, the next minute he wants to eat them. Right, so now I'm going to turn this way. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to try and go sideways off this little strip. Yes, good boy. Yes, good boy. Very good. Now you can come home. Go on. Done our municipal bit. So yeah, we just have a little play. And okay, he's not really a reactive horse, but when horses are scared, when, fear for a horse is just like all-encompassing, and even seemingly quiet ones like Ronan, they can be gone. Well, I'm not saying he's a runaway, because he's absolutely not, but horses are flight animals, and we never need to take them for granted, and that's why I do all these things, standing up and rattling the trees and, leaning over and doing all this, because they kind of mustn't be nervous about what's happening with the rider, might bend down like this and, all those sorts of things. I mean, it may seem no big deal, but I can assure you that I've been dumped unceremoniously many times until I learnt never to go take an Irish horse for granted, no matter how seemingly quiet. I always remember we got this Irish horse that had been ridden by the son-in-law of an Irish friend of ours living in England, and to be honest, he was a bit of a cowboy, and I should have known that anything he had was suspect. But anyway, I'll just get past these people. Sorry, I'd have gone round you. Lovely. Thank you. So yes, we had this very smart burnished gold chestnut gelding that had the most unusual name. He was called Paddy, and I think he was our first Paddy, and I think he was 7, and the owner said, why don't you take Paddy, and I don't want a lot for him. He said the son-in-law doesn't really get on with him, he can't really ride him. So I said, oh well, why is that? So he said, well, the son-in-law can't ride for a start, he just wants to get on and follow my daughter out on the hack, and every time he tries to get on Paddy throws him off. So I thought, with the bravado of youth, I thought, oh, well, that's all right, he can't ride, and we'll soon have Paddy sorted out. So we did fix the mounting problem, to put a bit of time, and once a horse has had that fear and has dumped the rider several times getting on, it's very hard really to eradicate it unless you're an experienced rider. So I had Paddy some months, and I rode everywhere, actually everywhere on him, and we were getting really great. It was the middle of the summer, and it was a baking hot summer, and the ground was as hard as the road, and I rode into this field to do a little bit of schooling. Come on then, not worried about that. And the flies were quite bad, and he had some fly irritating him on his head. So I stopped him like this, and I thought I'll just brush the fly off. So I went like this. Well, I didn't even get to touch him. I went like that, which is all I did, and he absolutely exploded into the air. He went straight up in the air like, well, what does go like a helicopter lifting off. I mean, he just exploded into the most enormous leap vertically in the air, followed by a buck. Well, it took me so by surprise because I really wasn't expecting it. I mean, he must have gone 4 or 5 foot in the air, and I must have gone 7 foot in the air, because I just was catapulted out the saddle, straight up in the air. Then I did a backwards flip and landed. I landed straight back down onto the hard ground in this field, baked by weeks of sun, and was a bit winded, I have to say, and in those days we didn't always wear hats, and it was hot and I wasn't wearing a hat, but my guardian angel was there, and I just lay there for a couple of seconds, and I realised it was alright, and I got back up, and had he had gone, they do, and I was in this middle of this 50-acre field, anyway, he hadn't broken his bridle, he was trotting around, so he was a bit unnerved by it, I expect. So I caught him up, I got back on him, we did our schooling, and then I took him home, and he was fine. He never did it again, but I never did it again. I never leant forward to touch, and it was a big lesson for me, because although I don't hold on to that, it's a blue flower. I don't hold on to that, and when I lean forward now, I never think of it, but I'm only mentioning it because it's very real for horses that have had a fright, especially from Ireland, where often they're broken in quite, well, I'm going to say it, quite brutally, and they are frightened of people. And then, when you lean forward like this, you're like a lion on top, aren't you? You're like a predator. And so that's what they do. Now, I know that's what I've learned, because I've been off more than once that way, and it finally sunk in. Don't do that. Get your stick, put it down towards their nose. Make sure you can do all this when you're sitting ready for it. When you're like this, you're in a vulnerable position, and if they go straight up in the air, well, probably even, you'd have to be a more secure rider than I was. It'd have to be some kind of rodeo rider or something. I don't know if everybody would have fallen off, but certainly a lot of people would have done, and I was one of them. So, but as I say, I don't hold on to that. I mean, I don't think about it from one week to the next, but I'm aware that, had I not done that, I would never have known it was there. And then if somebody had bought the horse in time, and you didn't mention it, they might not have. I mean, I was so lucky that, I always felt lightly, and, I didn't fall heavily, and I just sort of bounced. I don't want to do that now. I won't bounce, but the point is that not everybody bounced, and